Welcome back to Outside Views, and yes, bro, we need to talk. I recently talked about one topic in connection to Nigel Farage, and we need to discuss that again. For years, everyone watching this video will know that Nigel Farage and his party have been built on one single message, and that was to stop immigration. It has been the core of the brand, the foundation of the political success. But recently, and we talked about this, a new and frankly bizarre phrase has been heard from the party, and that they are now pledging, bring back British babies. So this party is now arguing that Britain needs a complete 180 shift in attitudes to improve its birth rate. And that was not a joke, because the party spokesperson told, I think it was Politico, that their mission is to cut immigration drastically and at the same time encourage people already there to have more kids. And I'm quite sure he means not really people that immigrated. But this is a calculated and deeply cynical political pivot, because it's an attempt to frame a complex demographic issue as a simple choice between two mutually exclusive options: immigration or babies. And this is just a false choice. But to back up their rhetoric, the populists are now wading into policy. And Reform UK is pledging now to scrap the two-child benefit cap. That's kind of a hot potatoes for years in the UK. And they're also promising bigger tax breaks for married couples. And of course, as everything at the moment works, and we know all this with social media and everything, on the surface, this will really sound appealing to some people, especially those who feel squeezed by the high cost of living. And there was a young reform councillor named Saffron Sims Bryden. Saffron, by the way, great name, always reminds me of my absolutely favorite UK TV series, and I guess most people will know now. Yes, I like that even more than Doctor Who. Sorry. But she told the press that the cost of living makes it difficult for her generation to have children. And she's right about that point. And that is exactly what Reform UK is trying to exploit now. They are trying to communicate a commitment to family that other parties have kind of shied away from. And the reports from some think tanks show this is specifically a play for voters switching from Labour, who are frustrated with cuts to welfare and, the government's failures to protect vulnerable people. So this really is a 2-for-1 political maneuver. And this allows Farage to go on with his anti-immigration stance while also appearing to have a positive pro-family solution. But this is really where the cynicism is at its most apparent. Experts say that these policies won't even work. There's a professor on the London School of Economics, that's Nicholas Barr, and he's quoted saying that while these policies might be good for other reasons, they have little to no effect on the birth rate. Because declining fertility is not about a lack of tax breaks. It's a result of higher female education, shifting social norms, and widely available birth control. But who cares about facts? This does not stop Reform UK using it as a political talking point. And while they are trying to appear modern, so now the old school anti-woke ideology is still lurking just below that surface. We heard this from the German AfD with the women back to the stove and stuff like that. But another Reform UK, in this case an MP, that Sarah Pochin, said that her party would only support scrapping the benefit cap for working parents, explicitly ruling out support for families completely on benefits. And, she also made headlines at a point with her views on paternity leave, telling a reporter that men should, what did she say exactly? Man up and get back to work. And that exactly shows the tightrope Reform is trying to walk here, because they want to have it both ways. They want to be the pro-family party, but only for a specific kind of family. And they are trying to borrow the rhetoric of populists from the United States, all while insisting they are not fighting a culture war here. But make no mistake, in the end, this is a culture war. In some point, a legit culture war. I mean, some people on the other side are really exaggerating certain things, and that brings us in even more trouble, because we get it from here in Germany, we get it from the extreme left and the extreme right, and you sometimes can only feel like a tennis match in Wimbledon, but at the other times you feel like, what the hell has happened? Because of these extreme views coming from both sides at you. But in case of reform, it's an attempt to frame the UK's population and future as a simple black and white choice once again. We have seen that black and white choice before. We had this with Brexit. And once again, it's a political strategy that preys on anxiety and discontent and offers a simplistic answer to a deeply complex issue. Why do I feel like Groundhog Day? And this really is the ultimate consequence of the post-Brexit political landscape. In the absence of real policy solutions, populist parties will seize on any issue they can, no matter how tenuous their arguments are, but they want to win over disillusioned voters. But I'm really curious this time what you think about this. Is reform's focus on the birth rate a genuine attempt to address a national crisis, or is it a cynical political ploy? Really? Let me know. And we have the discussion here. Everybody blames the boomers now. That's not my generation, by the way, although someone recently said people with the same age as I am now would be boomers. No, I'm not a boomer. If you know what generation I'm from, you can also write in the comments. But they didn't have too many children, and that's why our retirement scheme is a little bit in trouble at the moment, to be nice. And so, yeah, you cannot fix it that easily. I mean, personally, I think that birth control did the whole thing, to be honest. And legitimate feminism. There's exaggerated stuff as well, but the legitimate feminism led to that as well. And so we in very many cases have less children here. I mean, I only have one sister, so we were not a gigantic family. My grandmother had 13 siblings. I have one. So there was change over time. But nevertheless, looking forward to your comments on what you think about that scheme. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.